Do you know how many unknown mysteries exist in the deep sea? At a depth of 3 meters underwater, an ordinary person can only go so deep without any protective equipment. At a depth of 20 meters, there is ample sunlight, and in addition to various fish, there are beautiful and dreamy coral reefs. At a depth of 60 meters, the largest species of the dolphin family, the killer whale, lives here. They usually appear in groups, are ferocious, highly intelligent, and are the top predators in the ocean food chain. At a depth of 100 meters, the red-lipped batfish lives here. In addition to having strange flame-red lips, their swimming ability is also quite poor and they can only crawl on the seabed with their 4 legs. At a depth of 200 meters, sunlight cannot penetrate this depth, so photosynthesis cannot occur, and we cannot see any traces of green plants. However, the yellow-banded fish, known as the messenger of the dragon palace, is propagated here. They are extremely ferocious and can grow up to over 7 meters in length, earning them the eerie title of Sea Demon King. At a depth of 300 meters, the Japanese spider crab lives here. Despite their small size, when their legs are fully extended, their entire body can reach 4.2 meters in length, making them the largest living crustaceans in the world. At a depth of 500 meters, the largest animal on Earth, the blue whale, can only dive up to this depth. They are over 30 meters in length and weigh up to 160 tons, equivalent to the weight of 25 African elephants, and are widely distributed in global waters. At a depth of 600 meters, we can not only find the big fin squid with a transparent head, but also see a 47-meter-long tube jellyfish that is almost 16 stories tall. The psychedelic fluorescence it emits looks quite magical, but do not touch it as it is covered in poisonous spines. Once it punctures your skin, you may never return from the deep sea. At a depth of 800 meters, this is the depth where the giant squid lurks. As the world's longest cephalopod, even one of its tentacles can easily exceed 10 meters in length. Apart from the sperm whale, it has almost no natural enemies. The sea monster kraken in Norse mythology is widely circulated based on its prototype. At a depth of 1,000 meters, this is truly the deep sea zone. Even though sunlight cannot penetrate, we can still see light because there are many jellyfish here that emit blue-green fluorescence, like another paradise under the sea. At a depth of 2,000 meters, the deep-sea dragonfish swims like a ghost. They are small in size, only about 10 centimeters long, but have long and sharp fangs in their mouths. They mainly use their luminous lower jaws to lure and capture prey. At a depth of 3,000 meters, this is the depth where the beaked whales live. If we are lucky enough, we may even see the scene of a battle between a sperm whale and a giant squid. At a depth of 3,700 meters, this is where the world-famous Titanic sank. The accident resulted in the death of more than 1,500 people, and the wreckage was not discovered until 1985. Due to the influence of ocean currents and bacteria, the ship is slowly disappearing. At a depth of 4,000 meters, the debris and feces of upper ocean, as well as dead plankton, constantly gather here, just like snowflakes. Animals such as sea urchins, shrimp, and sea cucumbers rely on these residues for food. At a depth of 5,000 meters, this is the area where the fangtooth lives. They look similar to eels, are all black, and have extremely sharp teeth, able to swallow prey twice their size. At a depth of 6,000 meters, we officially enter the superabyssal zone, the initial depth of the Mariana Trench. With current human technology, it is still difficult to explore here, so this area has always been the most mysterious place on Earth. At a depth of 8,178 meters, the world's deepest known fish, the Mariana snailfish, lives here. They are only about 16 centimeters long, extremely rare, and if we are lucky enough, we may encounter them. At a depth of 9,000 meters, the water pressure is terrifying and we can no longer see any fish, as if we have entered an alien world. Only some microbial communities still struggle to survive here. At a depth of 11,034 meters, we have reached the bottom of the Mariana Trench, where there is no sunlight, vegetation, and the pressure is more than 1,000 times that of the sea level, equivalent to the weight of 50 jumbo jets. This is the deepest known point on Earth, and only a few manned expeditions have ever reached this depth. It is a place of extreme isolation and mystery, and scientists are still discovering new species and phenomena at this depth.